happy hour is from 4 to 6.
Miss Kennedy, would you get me a medium dry vodka martini?
What address?
Shaken, not stirred.
Hold on. I'm not hearing it right. Hold on. We got it now.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
Hey everyone, how are you all doing today? It's been another wonderful weekend at the box office. So that's pretty nice to see. I know everyone's talking about Barbie and everything like that, but the other films that were out this weekend also did quite well, and I'm really pumped about that. It feels like the movie theaters are back, and that's great to see. No, I did not see the Meg 2. So if you ask me about it, I will probably just say I'm so sorry, but I heard it's horrible. So if you saw it and you had to go through that experience, I apologize in advance. Anyway, looks like we have some comments already. So I guess we'll get the show rolling here. Later at 5 p.m., my trusty co-host sometimes. I guess we were all kind of co-hosts. Me, Bone Bridger, and John Automates on each other's channels. So he's going to come on around 5 as my guest / person I stream with all the time. So I'm sure you've seen him before. He's very insightful and he's a lot of fun. And he has a great channel. So check it out. It's in the description if you have not subscribed yet to the Bone Bridger. So let's see here. Hello, Tyler. I hit it last night, actually. So very thrilled. I was on a stream and with Movie Cynic and Little Platoon, and they just celebrated 100,000 subscribers on the Movie Cynic's channel. So that was really nice to be a part of. And I think that's kind of what put me over the edge. So I'm very thankful that they invited me on. So you can, I don't think they posted the replay of that yet, but eventually they will, I'm sure. Yes. Hi, your cold boyfriend. Thank you so much for stopping by. And yes, I did reach 1,000K. That's what we're all excited about. It's really, really fantastic. So Drew, how are you? Thank you. As always, very nice to see you. 1,000 subs. Congratulations, Slip de Garçon. Yes, thank you very much. It's really, really fantastic. I'm really grateful to everyone. Yes, thank you so much. That's my boyfriend, Maxfield. I have huge big ups to Tracy for reaching this milestone, perfecting your craft every day, 2,000s more. Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind. Let's see. Hello, how are you today? Hello there, how are you today, Dimension Scott? Always a pleasure to see you in the chat. So thanks for stopping by. Happy hour, happy hour, Tracy. Still working, but tuning in. I'll toast you when I can. Oh, thanks, KB. I like, even if people don't watch these live, like I know for me, like I can't always catch people's live streams, but I like to listen to them when I'm working or commuting or things like that. So, because then they kind of just turn into like a podcast with people that you enjoy listening to them talk about movies and such. So yeah, no, that's great. I hope work's not going too terribly for you, KB. Everyone check out his channel as always. And actually always everyone in the chat has a channel. So I'm pretty positive. If not, they're also just cool people. So I highly recommend checking them out. Jason, the old millennial, congrats on 1K subs, Tracy. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you. Thank you so much, KB. I'm really, it's lovely to have you in the chat. And again, I hope work isn't going too terribly there. Thank you so much. It's really, really so nice of everyone. Are there going to be any movies this fall since the writer and actor strikes are going on? Yes, there will be some, but whether or not more delays will be announced, I'm not positive. I was really happy to hear that Yorgos Lanthimos' newest film, Poor Things, or Pretty Things? I think it's Poor Things. I don't know why I want to call it Pretty Things. It's with Emma Stone. He's a very interesting director. He did The Favorite and The Lobster. His film was supposed to come out in September, I believe, or October. They delayed it, but only till December. So that's pretty cool, because I was worried. I was really looking forward to it, and that was going to be, an Oscar contender film for sure in some format. So pretty cool to see that that's not terribly delayed, but who knows what's going to happen with a lot of other films. The one I wanted to see as well was Zendaya. I think it's called Challengers. It's that like sexy tennis movie. That looks like it's not being released till next year, which is a shame, because that was coming out in September, I think, and I was very excited for that. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there will be some movies for sure. They're just, I just don't know. I mean, they keep announcing delays like Kraven the Hunter and everything like that, so we'll see. But who knows? John Automates. I definitely, we all know him. I had him on last week. I stream with him, and I'm on his channel as well with Bone Bridger. So very nice to see him in the chat. And yeah, Bone Bridger will be here around 5. That's kind of how I've been doing the format of this recently, and it's been working out pretty well. I know last week I skipped this by mistake because I totally forgot, but the week before I had opened up my Netflix DVD that I get in the mail. My boyfriend's had this going on for a long time, and it's ending soon, but I thought I would just show you guys the one I got in the mail this week. And I did wind up watching Malcolm X. I don't know if I talked about that, because that was on my that came in the mail a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Phenomenal movie, and the pacing is like so good. Like, it's a long film and you don't feel it at all, and Spike Lee did an absolutely amazing job with that, and Denzel Washington was phenomenal in that as well. Like, it was just really good. I highly recommend Malcolm X if you haven't seen it yet. That was just on my list forever, and I finally got around to it, and I'm really happy that I did. Let's see here. So yes, I had opened this already because I didn't think, I thought I would be watching it before. This is actually the HBO movie You Don't Know Jack with Al Pacino, and it's about the doctor that I believe he created the euthanasia technique of how to do that. Very controversial, and if people can choose to be euthanized and things like that. So I'm very excited to watch this. I know it was a really big winner for Al Pacino and got quite a few Emmys and Golden Globes, I believe. It is from 2009. So I remember watching the award shows that year, and it was all over the place. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see here. Fritzky 1K. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. It's very kind. Fritzky's great. I think if you guys were here on a couple weeks ago, Fritzky was my guest, and it was really, really interesting conversation. Oh yeah, thank you. I love Baby Yoda, and I don't care that if I call him Grogu or not. I'm not going to call him Grogu. It's Baby Yoda to me. And this is actually a really nice mug. I believe my mom got this for me quite a while ago. And I'm not like the biggest Star Wars fanatic on the planet, but I do love Baby Yoda. So that's definitely, I love the old films. And like, I really just can't keep up with all these series that everyone says are awful anyway. So, I watch The Mandalorian here and there, but I'm not even caught up on The Mandalorian. So, there's just so much like other stuff I'd rather be watching as far as shows go. So like, I'm watching The Bear right now, and I absolutely love it. I don't know if you guys watch The Bear, but it's a really great show. And I can see why it's been getting a lot of awards as well. And the kid, Jeremy Allen White from Shameless, I was a big Shameless fan. So it's really nice that he got a new project that he's the lead of. Very nice. Very cool, Luke. Luke is a big collector. I've been on his channel a couple of times. Very nice person. I'd be curious to hear what you got. That's pretty cool. So I actually don't have a Walmart where I live, but I've been to Walmart in my life, obviously, before. And I remember them having a pretty good selection for Blu-rays, 4Ks, things like that. But yeah, I haven't been to one in a while. I do have a Best Buy though. So, oh, movie Cynic. Yes, thank you so much. I still don't think I can do that yet, but I'm not positive because my watch hours are really close, but I just think they're just not there. But I think maybe soon. I don't know. I really didn't look into it since this happened last night, so I could be totally wrong, but I will at least do that next week. But that's very kind of you. And I had a great time chatting with you and everyone on the panel last night. Really great conversations. Pretty Things. It's Pretty Things. I don't know why I call it Poor Things. Okay, so it is Pretty Things. Has a better release date for Oscar season. I 100% agree. So I'm kind of torn on Yorgos Lanthimos. My apologies. It's a mouthful of a name sometimes. Yorgos Lanthimos. I was a huge fan of The Favorite, and I didn't personally really love The Lobster, but I really want to rewatch The Lobster because I feel like I watched it in a mindset where I just didn't get it. I'd love to hear your opinions on The Lobster. But yeah, so the director that did The Lobster, The Favorite, a bunch of other things. He's known to be a little bit more, like his movies are a little bit more out there, which I like. And so yeah, his new film with Willem Dafoe and Emma Stone, I believe that's Willem Dafoe. I'm pretty sure I saw that in the trailer. And there's someone else that's big in that movie as well. That was going to come out in December, not December, sorry. It's moved to December. It was coming out in September. And they just moved it because of the strike. So I agree with you, Noah. I think that is a better position for them. Because in December, like, yeah, you have some heavy hitters for Oscar season, but I think that type of film is so unique that I think it's going to be noticed regardless. So I think that's a great point. Let's see. It seems like some of the Oscar movies this year are being delayed. I wonder if that gives Oppenheimer a leg up on the competition. I mean, its biggest competition, I feel like, it's funny you guys are talking about Oscar stuff. I'm going to be making a video on my Oscar predictions because they're like 6 months away. And obviously I haven't seen most of them because they do have the more fall, winter time release dates. But we've seen quite a handful so far, I would say. So I think there's also speculation here. I think like the biggest one would be Killers of the Flower Moon. But there's, David Fincher has a film coming out with Michael Fassbender. The Yorgos Lanthimos one, I don't think it's going to be competition for Best Picture because his films are, again, sometimes I feel like a little too out there for anything like that. Past Lives, which has come out, I think that's going to get a Best Picture nomination for sure. And if anyone hasn't seen Past Lives, I believe it's not available currently. Oh no, this happened last time. Okay, 1 second, guys. Just hang tight. I'll play this again. Ay, ay, ay.
You guys, happy hour is from 4 to 6.
Miss Kennedy, would you get me a medium dry vodka martini?
What is
Shaken, not stirred.
I'm not hearing it right. Hold on. We got it now.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
Okay, so I've been doing a little bit of testing with my batteries and such, and I figured out the perfect system. And then the one battery that I have a couple batteries, but the one that was fully charged that was supposed to be used for this, I can't find it. I think my cat's got it. So, but I'm charging it right now. It'll be fine by the time Bone Bridger gets back. So just bear with me while we just use the camera from my computer. So I apologize on that one. Anyway, we were talking about the Oscars and movies and delays, and let's see here. Yes. Okay. So we discussed that. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I wish I had my list up. I think I do actually. Most of them, like Dune's not going to get moved because it's a part 2, and I don't think they actually need to do a lot of press for it to do well at the box office. You know, that's actually, I actually don't even think I have. No, I must have that on my list. Anyway, yeah. So I think exactly what you guys are saying. Yeah, there are going to be delays. I just don't think at this point. I don't know. Do they think that they need to do press to have a David Fincher film do well at the box office at this point? I mean, maybe. I don't know. To me, I'm sold when I hear it's David Fincher, but I know that's not, the case for a lot of people. I'm like looking at my other camera because I think it's on and it's not. So I apologize. I'll look at this one. But yeah, we'll get into. I have my list up now. We'll get into like some Oscar talk if we decide if the conversation lends itself or goes there. Yeah, I know. I keep hearing like at the earliest October, but I hope that it gets solidified sooner than later. But who knows? Oh, very cool. Everyone's saying hi. It reminds me of 2020 when everything got delayed. Okay, so this is a great point because what's going on right now, if this goes on for months, it's going to be like we just got back from the pandemic, and these companies have the potential now to actually do well. We're seeing the box office better than ever, actually better box office numbers than pre-pandemic, which is really amazing. I agree with all these delays. It's going to set the industry back, a couple years at this point. I mean, I couldn't believe that they postponed Craven the Hunter to not like spring, but like next August. Like that is absolutely crazy to me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's just, especially because they just like released the trailer like a month ago, and I'm like, oh, never mind. So you already wasted marketing money on that, because I know they put in some pretty prominent spots. But like, my goodness, yeah, it's a mess. Thank you, Luke. That's very kind of you. Out of the members of the original Avengers, how would you rank them? My ranking is Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. I'm gonna star this one for Bone Bridger because that's a fun question. As far as like powers or like ability, I mean, I would probably just rank them as much as the ones that I like the best, I think, because I mean, it's pretty easy to say like some would destroy the other ones pretty easily, if you want to like rank like their powers or skills. I think I'm with you on this one. I just don't know if I would put. I would move Thor. I think personally, I'd probably move Captain America and Thor below Hulk just because I think, I don't know. This is tough. This is much harder than I thought, actually. Now I'm like double guessing everything. But I think personally, yes, I would put Iron Man as number 1. Absolutely. Captain America, like I get why Civil War, why everyone was like on Tony's side, like was pissed at Captain America, like playing by the rules and shit. Like he comes off as too much of a goody two shoes, which suits the character, and I totally get that. But like, it's not someone I would, I don't know. He's very one note in a lot of aspects. I'm not saying the writing for him is one note. I'm just saying as a person, I don't know. I think I would have to move him further down. Like Tony Stark, you can have a good time with, so that might be a good list of like who you'd actually want to like hang out with. But I did start for Bone Bridger, so we'll see what he says. I grabbed Fast X on 4K, which I very much enjoyed in theaters. Justice League, Warworld, and Kandahar. Okay. I did not see Fast X. I don't know if I'm going to ever. I mean, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. You have to do a lot to get me to see one of those movies. I've seen 2 of them and they were fine. But I'd rather watch something else, I think. It could be Pretty Things or Poor Things. I can't remember. Right, that's what I'm saying. Okay, no, so you weren't confirming that it's called Pretty Things or Poor Things. I feel like it's Poor Things, but I'll look that up right now. But at least you know what I'm talking about. And I can see actually who the other big actor in that movie is, besides Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe. It's Mark Ruffalo, speaking of the Hulk, so that's funny. Yeah, okay, so it's the 3 of them. And Rami Youssef, who's on that show on Hulu that's really popular. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm glad they moved the date as well. So The Favorite was made to win Best Costume Design. Now, I'm curious, did The Favorite win Best Costume Design? I remember Olivia Colman winning for that film. I love that. I love that movie. I like dark comedies like that, like really dark black comedies, which is what I would say that is. So I had a blast with that movie. Olivia Colman like cracked me up so many times in the weirdest way. So I definitely highly recommend The Favorite if you guys haven't seen that one. And it will help you get like a little bit more like affiliated with Yorgos Lanthimos for sure. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen The Lobster. That was a pretty popular one, I'd say. The Lobster might have even been more popular than The Favorite just because of Colin Farrell. So who knows? Netflix, yeah. I'm trying to think of what I watch on Netflix currently. But yeah, I did see they do have a lot coming out for sure. Yes, that's great. KB has a great show on his channel called The Conversation, and you would be a great guest, John. And you have the questions in advance, so you're not put on the spot, which is what I really like. Otherwise, I just beat myself up afterwards with it. It's done, and I'm like, oh, I could have said that, and I could have said that. So yeah, no, you're gonna have a really great time. Okay, from David. The Best Picture will be absolutely fascinating this year and definitely hinges on what is pushed back and what isn't and how long the strikes go on for. Yeah. That's interesting. And I think someone brought it up earlier too, and I didn't even think about this. Like a movie purposefully being like, well, we're probably not going to do better than Oppenheimer or Killers of the Flower Moon, so like maybe we should delay our movie. Because at that point, if they can't do press and they feel like an underdog already, and the Oppenheimer doing so massively what it has done, and the scores from critics, I would say that could happen. But I think the top ones that are already implemented to come out, I think are definitely going to continue. But we'll see. Again, it could be like the David Fincher movie gets delayed or something like that. I know Todd Haynes has a film called May December coming out. Bradley Cooper's film Maestro. I don't know if that would get a delay. I actually haven't heard much. It's been pretty quiet on that movie, which is really interesting because Bradley Cooper directed and stars in this film. It's a biopic of Leonard Bernstein, who's a composer. So I would be guessing if they can't, they might want to hold off actually on this one. Especially since, younger generations don't know who Leonard Bernstein is anyway, which is a shame. So I feel like they might want to have some press on that. But yeah, I'm like looking at the list right now. Color Purple is definitely going to come out. I think that's fine. Napoleon's definitely coming out. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention Napoleon. Yeah, of course. So you've got some really heavy hitters here for sure. Well, if I hear of delays, I will tell you about delays. For first thing, the David Fincher film is called The Killer, by the way, and that is with Michael Fassbender and Tilda Swinton. Yep. There's a Chris Rock movie I know that's supposed to be coming out called Rustin. And and Alexander Payne has that. Maybe you guys have already seen the trailer for it. It's like Paul Giamatti and he's a teacher. It's called The Holdovers, which could be good. Personally, I find Alexander Payne is hit or miss. But but I have liked quite a few of his films in the past. So who knows? I'm gonna go back to the chat here since we got a little bit of that pre-Oscars discussion coming in. Yeah, I know. I mean, if anyone was guessing before, I mean, I thought the trailer was actually not bad. I wasn't expecting much. I think that has a lot to do with it. I do like, oh my God, the actor. It has 3 names in it. Everyone knows who I'm talking about from Kick-Ass and many other things. He was also I kicked myself out. I don't know how that happens. I was literally just about to click on the next comment there, and I kicked myself out of my own stream. So love that. Okay, I promise you that Fast X is better than F9. Fast X at least takes the silliness that the franchise was getting carried away with on 8 and 9. Yeah, and to be honest, I actually probably would want to see how Jason Momoa did as the villain. So that poor guy's career, my goodness, he needs all the luck he can get with Aquaman coming out. I don't know. I know we were talking about delays. I don't know if anyone has any information if that's confirmed being delayed or if that's still just in talks. I think it would be absolutely horrendous for them to delay that movie. I mean, it was supposed to come out last December, so I think that would just be and they don't have to do extra press for that. Like, who doesn't know that that movie's coming out, right? Like, everyone knows it's coming out. It was supposed to come out last year. We all know Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Like, we all knew about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp scandal and the head of the DCU at the time coming in to discuss the movie and all that stuff. So, you know, I think they got enough free press if you really think about it with that movie. It's Poor Things. Yes. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, I want to check it out. It looks like kind of like a Frankenstein type of situation. So that's kind of cool. Who are your top 5 actors as superheroes? My top 5 are Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Chris Pratt, Star-Lord is number 5. Man, everyone's coming in with the top 5 questions with this stuff. I don't think there's anyone that you haven't covered that I would throw in there. Favorite, again, that is a question that I'm going to star because I feel like that list could just change quite a bit. I mean, I will say though, I have to add Robert Pattinson as Batman. I know that might be an unpopular choice, but I think a lot of people like him as the Batman. So I think I would say that would be on my list. Plot holes in Fast X that definitely don't make sense, and a cliffhanger ending that doesn't work, but for the most part, it is a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, I hope those movies are fun at the minimum. I think that's definitely what they try to do. Try to make them bigger every time. December 8th, yes. Okay, good to know. I'm definitely gonna be seeing that one. The favorite loss to Black Panther, very well. Oh, for costumes, yeah. Okay, that's ringing a bell now. Yep, I think the costumes in Black Panther were fantastic. I'm not surprised that the favorite was nominated though, because I think the costumes in that were also really well done. I like that category a lot, actually. I think it kind of, I feel like people don't really care that much about it. But it's an interesting category. And a lot of times we watch all these movies, we don't think about the person that did all the costumes and designed them and, how do all the aesthetics look right for what they're trying to portray these characters. Oh yes, we saw this earlier. I believe it is real. The A24 tweeted. Can we still say tweeted now that it's X? I don't even know if you're supposed to, like, what do you say X did at this point? I'm just gonna still say tweets and tweeted. So yes, they did a tweet earlier saying that a sequel was confirmed to happen, which I'm very excited about. I don't know if you guys saw Talk to Me yet. It just came out last weekend, I believe. So not what's today? Today's Tuesday. So not this past weekend. I think it came out the weekend before. If you like horror movies, this one's really, really well done. And it's by A24. Like they've been just killing it with the horror movies recently. Just great, these young directors with such unique visions. That's the studio to go to if you want something made. My goodness, like they really give you what you need, and they have a great sense of taste. And I think that they really greenlight the right projects, or they purchase the rights to distribute the right projects. Because this was this case. I believe the production studio that produced Talk to Me was Causeway, I believe it's called. It's an Australian company. Obviously, the directors from Raka Raka, they went with an Australian company to produce it, and then A24 picked it up for distribution rights. And that was really smart because it definitely aligns with their brand for sure. I got to get Bone Bridger on here. Let's see here. I'll get this off the screen. And I'll put this on. Napoleon looks fantastic. I'm just going to keep this question up while I get this to my guests because I didn't have time to do that today. But yeah, Napoleon looks epic. That's going to be, that's definitely going on my list for potential Best Actor nominations. I definitely think Joaquin Phoenix is obviously getting nominated for something. Whether it's Beau is Afraid or Napoleon, I don't really think the chances of him getting nominated for Beau is Afraid are that high, but he was so good in it. And I feel like the industry at least is going to remember that one. Like sometimes when movies come out super early, they come and go and they're forgotten about. But Beau is Afraid I think, was so outrageously out there that I think people in the industry still remember it. And if they did appreciate it and like it, they definitely, I could see them voting for it in some form at the Oscars. Just like Get Out, that was a very early release. I think that was in February. And then winning Best Original Screenplay there for Jordan Peele was really great to see. So. Yeah, that's true. I'm so glad that John brought this up. So Talk to Me has made over 10 million, possibly more at this point at the box office. And its budget was 7 million, right? I think that's what it was. Oh, 70 million. Sorry, I don't know why I said 7. My goodness, that would be a great feat. Yes, I believe it was 70 million. No, am I confusing that? No, I'm sorry. I'm totally off. 4.5 million for Talk to Me. I'm thinking 70 because we were talking about Ninja Turtles earlier, which has a $70 million budget. Talk to Me had a $4.5 million budget and it made over 10 million its opening weekend. So that's really great. Or at least the second weekend, I believe. So yeah, like that's quite the profit already. And so yeah, that makes sense. They would greenlight another one. And it's if you've seen Talk to Me, the structure of this type of horror movie really lends itself to having sequels. It's kind of like if you take the concept of Scream, I'm not saying Talk to Me is anything like Scream, but Scream is the type of situation where it's easy to have sequels with that same concept and sub storyline that's consistently there. Same thing with Talk to Me. Absolutely super easy for them to do. And it looks like my guest is here. So I'm so sorry. I'm putting you all through this one more time. But I'm going to do this one more time because we're actually introducing him. So.
You guys, happy hour is from 4 to 6.
Miss Kennedy, would you get me a medium dry vodka martini?
What is
Shaken, not stirred.
Hold on. I'm not hearing it right. Hold on. We got it now.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
I love
Welcome.
how intense that is.
Oh,
I
I'm happy to
love
hear.
it. Oh my gosh, why can I not think of his name that played James Bond?
Oh,
Just for
it's
a few.
yes. It's oh my, I was just thinking of it the other day. There's a D in it, I believe.
Timothy Dalton?
Yes, Timothy Dalton.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's so aggressive about that, his drink order.
He's
Like
so
so aggressive.
aggressive. And like his server in that, the girl at the end, she like looks at his girlfriend or whoever she is and is like, oh, what's his problem?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about his demeanor in that. That's a little much.
I know.
Yeah. Hey, I see some hooligan in your chat. Get
I
this guy out of
know.
here. You must be talking
Yeah.
about you. Kick you out. Throw you on the curb. What are you doing? What is it? This
Yeah.
hostility.
John's been adding some lovely points to the chat. And I want to preface this to you, Bone Bridger. In a moment or so, I'll try it again a little later. I fixed my whole battery issue, and then I wound
Okay.
up with another technical issue today, and my camera died, and it's currently charging again. So I will be putting that on at some point while we are discussing everything. But I apologize to everyone that I'm using my desktop computer. But we're getting there. Working out the case.
This is why you got a backup, though. See, this is crucial. If mine goes kaput, I'm out of luck. It'll just be silence. I got no backups.
Well, that's but you've got yours definitely, all figured out. So that's
yeah.
good.
But if you saw the way this camera was balanced on this table, you'd be concerned. Like it fell over on me and John one time when we were talking, and it was hilarious because it's not weight balance. So if I kick this table, this thing's coming over towards me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not the most official with my setup, but yeah, cool. What have you been talking about?
Yes, well, we've been talking a little bit about delays with certain films and if that's going to affect Oscar season. And we did discuss a little bit. I know you did see Talk to Me recently, right?
Tomorrow's Talk to Me.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow's Talk to Me, and then the last voyage of the Dracula movie.
Yes.
So I'm doing horror week. It's all 1 week. Yeah.
No, yeah. So A24 tweeted today that they are greenlighting a sequel for Talk to Me. So
wow. I mean,
yeah.
After you make that much money, I'm kind of surprised that that they don't usually do that. Like that's not usually their thing, but it did make so much money, and it does seem like the type of movie that could have a little bit of a following that want to see another one. Whereas some of their A24 stuff, you would never want to see a sequel, even if you like it. You're like, no, I never want to watch that again.
No. Right. And even I know you haven't seen the film yet, but you've seen the trailer, and it is like teens and they put their hand on the hand and then they, communicate with the dead or whatever. That does lend itself to sequels as far as like a horror goes. So
concept seems to work there. Like concept seems like it'll transfer pretty well. Whereas like, certain horror franchises that we get all the time, the concept's not very strong. It doesn't seem like it would last, whereas that's like a thing that can be passed along.
I totally agree. And I do want to ask you, because I actually just started getting a list out. I'm working on an Oscar predictions video, and someone in the chat, people were talking about these delays. If any of the, Oscar contenders, do you think they're going to move them? I'm happy because I did find out that Yorgos Lanthimos, who did The Lobster and The Favorite, they are delaying it, but only till December. So like that's actually probably a better position for that movie as far as like Oscar season's considered. Right. But I haven't heard of like any of the super big contenders moving their dates yet.
That makes sense. Scorsese, they're not moving that no matter what. I would assume they wouldn't move it at this point.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting to think about. I'm trying to think of who the major contenders are for like Best Picture. Flower Moon.
Yep. So we've got Oppenheimer, obviously, which came out. There is a David Fincher film coming out called The Killer, and that is with Michael Fassbender and Tilda Swinton, actually.
Okay.
we've got Alexander Payne. I don't know if you saw the trailer for this, and I'm sometimes hit or miss with Alexander Payne movies, but he has a movie coming out with Paul Giamatti, where Paul Giamatti plays like a
Oh yes, I know
professor.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't this kind of fun? They were in a project years ago, right? Like when he was younger. I mean, like 10, 15 years ago, I feel like this is like kind of like there's a level to this where like they were in a movie together before, and that's kind of the genius of it. But I've heard that that's supposed to be really good and emotional, I guess would be the word.
Well, you actually nailed it. Actually, I totally forgot about American Splendor. But Alexander Payne did Sideways, the wine country movie. That was a big one.
Right.
And I forget the guy's name that's also in Sideways. I'll just look it up right now. You know who he is.
Oh yeah, somebody in the chat said Sideways too. Yeah.
Thomas Hayden Church. Thomas Hayden Church and him, and then they, that's where that whole like meltdown scene that Paul Giamatti goes off about how like he's not going to drink any Merlot or whatever. It's like, you can't make me drink Merlot.
Awesome actor. I mean, he is just awesome. One of the few things I ever, what he did, the John Adams TV show, great in that. He's great in Billions. He kind of was not in a lot of movies for a while, and I was always confused. I was like, this guy seems like he needs to be in movies. And in that movie you talked about, Past Lives, I saw someone in the chat mention, I saw that it's going to be on rental in like a week. So
good.
Hopefully I'll be able to watch that in like a week.
That's going to be a contender. I
wish I would have seen that in theaters.
It's an easy one to do at home though. So
you get in these phases where you have to catch up and you're just going to the movie theater every day. And so there's, you talk about cool stories. Do you ever get the vibe like some people that work at the movie theater are just doing it for a job, but sometimes you meet people there that they're working because they like love movies and they're so into it. And you and me both frequent Regal movie theaters.
Yes.
My latest conspiracy theory is that no one there is real and they're all NPC, non-playable characters. I almost asked one if they were an NPC the other day, but I was so scared that I would like break the Matrix code or something. But I finally met a Regal employee that is not an NPC, and she is very knowledgeable about movies. And I've had 3 conversations with her now and 3 visits, and I'm like, yes, someone real works here, or they are tricking me, and I am in for a horrible downfall.
What did she give you any advice on movies coming out?
Yeah, so we were talking about the Dracula movie, and somehow we got on Thor, and she basically made the comment, I was like, anything but Thor 4. I'll watch anything but Thor 4 again. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're so real. And then I looked over to the right, and the guy there was clearly not real. He was just holding the button for the Pepsi. He was just overflowing on the drink. And I was like, yep, this is where we are in life. This is what Robot Man right there. And then, but she doesn't know I review stuff on YouTube yet. She is in for a rude awakening when she realizes who I am, what I do.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you feel that they're like NPCs? Because I don't know if you have the same experience, but at the ones that I go to, my first impression was like, everyone is like really nice. And I wasn't expecting that because I get AMC, they're nice, but not all the time. And, but they have like
they like to like be a little mean even. They're like, get in there. I don't care about, Yeah, I agree.
That adds to the NPC thing for sure.
Oh, for sure. Anyone that's grumpy is not an NPC. It automatically is like the robots can't figure that out. Grumpiness is so human. It's the ultimate human kind of trait. Like the whole Gran Torino thing. Like the most human experience is just grumpy old Clint Eastwood just being irate about things. Who you can't tell if he actually cares about the kid next door or if he just didn't want people in his yard. Like there's a really weird line in there. Yeah, that's the way I feel at AMC sometimes. Regal though, I don't. I always look over my shoulder. I'm always terrified the whole time.
I'm going to go to the chat briefly. Through the Lens, friend from the UK. Thanks for stopping by. Check out his channel. The UK's not a real place.
There's no way the UK's real.
We were talking about best costume design because the favorite came up, and David here suggested that it should have won best costume design at the Oscars, but he didn't say it should have. He just said it deserved to win, but he did say Black Panther won for best costumes that year, and that those costumes.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, we both kind of agree that Black Panther made sense to win,
Right.
with those costumes from the first.
Yeah, and the argument can be made that, not to discredit Black Panther, but you weren't gonna not give Black Panther best costume that year. It was almost like if it was close, you were gonna lean towards Black Panther based on the quality of the movie and how it was and the reception and if you were close, you go with the easy choice. I feel like that's where I have always had a problem with the award shows, is sometimes you can tell they go with the easier choice, and not the choice of like, we could do this, but it's a lot easier to pick. The whole La La Land thing is a great example. I think the case could be made that they may have had it right with that, the accident. I don't know. That costume's interesting though, because I don't know. It's still Marvel. And yes, there were costumes, but that is still just a giant green screen behind everyone. And I know set and costumes are different, but when half of it's fake and half of it's authentic, it just takes it away from me. I don't know.
I see what you're
I want
saying.
it to feel real. Yeah. It's why Barbie deserves more costume and design and set credit than anything else. Because it all worked together. Like, it all fit together.
Absolutely. You're spot on.
They'll win, right? Surely. Set design?
So.
Yeah.
I think so. I really hope Asteroid City gets a nomination. I don't think it'll win, but I very similar thing.
I didn't think about that.
Set. Yeah. I think Barbie would probably win over that. I was thinking about this. I personally don't see Barbie winning a ton of things. But I think when they do win, it will be for things like production design.
I agree.
Yes.
They'll get nominated for a lot, but they won't win a lot.
Right. I agree with you there. I don't even know if the screenplay is strong enough. I mean, what do you think? Do you think they're going to nominate them for best original screenplay? Or no, would that be adapted? I guess that would be adapted screenplay.
That's what I wonder. I don't know. I need to look at that one and see how she wrote it, because her writing, I would say, would almost disqualify her at times, because it's so for the screen and not for the reader. And sometimes I feel like they take that into account, I don't know. I don't see that one winning that either. I think that'll be a curveball. I think script is where you get a lot more movies that surprise people, that they don't really know what to expect. And Barbie is very predictable in what it is. And I just don't think screenplays win like that anymore. I mean, unless it's just phenomenal.
Right, I agree, and I'm starting to wonder if it's even going to get nominated at all. But
that's a good point.
Yeah,
I maybe just on popularity. I hate to say it, but
yeah.
Bagface just made it think. Do you think Gosling gets a supporting nom? I mean, I do. He's got to, right?
He's not going to win. I mean,
he's not going to win and they won't give it to him regardless. But yeah. I mean, you can't not, right? Ryan Gosling is he technically he deserves one just for his career. It's one of those where they've missed him several times, where he's been looked over. I would say the other guys, not the other guys. I just called it The Other Guys. Is that what?
Oh, that's what it's called, isn't it?
Oh, him and Russell Crowe. It is The Other Guys.
I think so.
I think he's great in that, but there's so many movies that I think he's been looked over, and he's just a talented actor. And this is one of his better chances, maybe, to get a nom.
I agree. He's going to get the nomination, but it's a very similar situation too, with Robert Downey Jr. He's going to get a nomination for Best Supporting. And that guy has, I know he got nominated for when he portrayed Charlie Chaplin. The movie's okay. His performance is great in that, by the way. If anyone in the chat has not seen him portray Charlie Chaplin, please, I beg you to watch it just for his performance alone. But yeah, it's a similar situation there, with people that kind of got overlooked. He was doing Iron Man for 15, 20 years. So
my only thing is, if he's in the same category as a Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, he won't win then. I mean, they won't, I'm not saying he should win either way, but in my opinion, The Nice Guys, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the nice guys.
The other guys is the Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell comedy which is ridiculous. I just keep thinking about The Rock jumping off that building. But yes, The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe is a underrated movie. I really like that. But Robert Downey Jr. after Tropic Thunder, I am okay with him winning every award, just because why not, right? It'd just be funny and mockery. But yeah,
Oh, right, he was nominated for that. I forgot. Yeah.
he was, which is. I love that they did that because it was recognizing that he did pull off something. Have you seen lately the behind the scenes have been trending, and he does not break character when they're resetting. Ben Stiller will like start laughing some. Robert Downey Jr. is just all go. He is just so intense in that role. It was so good. Yeah.
I rewatched it like 2 weeks ago, actually. I hadn't seen it in years. I was like, oh, I'll throw this on. I loved it. So, yeah.
So for years, I got to tell you a trait I had. I would pick a movie, and for at least a year, whenever I was like to the point I couldn't stay awake anymore, I would put said movie on to see, and I would do it for a whole year to see how far I could get and where do I fall asleep as like a test to the time of like what is the movie. And I did it with Lord of the Rings. I did it with Batman, The Dark Knight, but I did it with Tropic Thunder, and I literally could not go to sleep. It was a problem. Like, it was too funny. I just stayed awake. Just couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Intense movie.
Yeah.
Movie. Not for the faint of heart. You don't feel good during that movie.
He's coming up with some good predictions here. Barbie will get a screenplay nom. He's also just shooing for them, not to mention the word of mouth. Yeah, I guess they will get a nomination and just not win.
Yeah, she's a great writer. I told you, I think Lady Bird's one of the best scripts you can read if you want to be a writer. I feel like that's the one to read. But I was looking to see if the Barbie script's already. People usually like somebody always leaks them. Nobody ever, like, they're always online. So
apparently, the Oppenheimer script is selling like hotcakes right now.
That's really cool to see a script make it to screen without changes. Like, that's wild. I mean, that's Nolan. A lot of people can't do that. Even Scorsese would cut things and delete scenes. Not Christopher Nolan. He's different. he's very different.
Just saying hi to actually Andrew. He was on the stream with me and Cynic and Little Platoon, as well as Bagface was also on there.
I
so
saw
just
these.
Giving them a little shout out.
These YouTubers.
Well.
I like that face he has on there. Little Superman eyes going.
Yes. I agree. That's a really cool thumbnail. I did star. This is like a loaded question. Well, it's not loaded. It's just, I don't know. I keep going back and forth on this one. I thought I would bring you in on this.
Ooh, I got strong feelings. Okay, so his ranking is, or their ranking is.
I'm putting you in solo mode.
Yeah, original Avengers. How would you rank them? My ranking is Iron Man 1, Captain America 2, Thor 3rd, Hulk 4th, Black Widow 5th, Hawkeye 6th. All right, I'm going to base this question based on the original Avengers over their entire run, not just the first movie, because it would be a totally different answer. I completely agree that Iron Man is 1. I'm a Captain America fan. I would choose Captain America 1 in my biased nature, but Robert Downey Jr. is just, he's that guy. So that's 1. I'm going to go Captain America 2. I'm actually going to go Black Widow 3rd. And then I'm going to go, oh my gosh, this is tough. Hulk. I'm going to go Hulk. And then I'm going to go Hawkeye. And then I'm putting Thor last. And I love Thor. But Thor 4 and Thor in Endgame are abominations, in my opinion. Like that is blowing my mind. Like, I can't believe what happened to his character. I'm not even counting the second movie. But if you start to pile these things up, he's the one. Now, if you're talking about just the Avenger movies, Infinity War Thor is peak Marvel for me. I loved Thor in Infinity War more than any other character. He stole the show for me. After Infinity War, if you asked me, I'd be like, this is the best thing ever. Thor is number 1. All of your heroes are weak. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor could just like break, and then in Endgame, well, you know, that's a good list though. That's a good. I see why you would rank them that way. I love Black Widow. I think Scarlett Johansson did an incredible job. I think she was the right person for the character. It's a shame that she didn't get a movie earlier. I think that's why her movie was so horrible, because it was after Endgame, and she had a great ending in Endgame.
Yeah.
Black Widow being the one to like throw down and sacrifice herself for Hawkeye. I mean, that's a emotional, great ending. It did her character a lot of service. I like that list though. It's interesting to think about, you know. Yeah, Thor 2. Nightmares.
No, I agree. I think I would say I agree with you for sure on those.
What about the actors though? Where would you rank them, Nerdy Film Girl? Not counting just their characters, but that's a pretty heavy hitting acting lineup too.
I would say Robert Downey Jr. Might even say, then I would say Scarlett Johansson, Mark Wahlberg, and then Chris
Oh, you
Evans.
mean Ruffalo for Hulk? You mean?
I'm sorry, what is saying Wahlberg?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
Whoa, are you bringing Uncharted in here? We're getting wild. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm always down to throw Mark Wahlberg on any list because
yeah,
he's Mark Wahlberg. I mean,
Mark Ruffalo, and then we're stuck with. Then I would go. Okay, I would then go with Jeremy Renner and Chris. Wait, did I? Yeah. Oh my God, I'm getting so because the two Chris's are like interchangeable to me.
The hot take. I loved Chris Evans as Captain America, but that's it for me when it comes to him. Jeremy Renner, I feel a little that way too. I mean, granted, you know, not to hate on him, but compared to the others,
Jeremy Renner, I know I was first introduced with him with the Hurt Locker, and then after that, American Hustle, he played like the mayor, I believe, and like it was like fine. You know, it was the weakest performance, I think, out of everyone else. Seems like a really nice guy, and people probably like working with him, and he gets the job done, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm with you, I think, on that. Yeah.
It's interesting.
This is tied, by the way. Also, I want your thoughts on this, Bumbridger, because every time The View with Drew, who is very supportive of the channel, leaves great comments. My boyfriend and I cannot figure out how he types questions using all capitals in the first letters.
What is happening? That is very interesting.
I know. I think we've asked him a couple times, he never responds, but I just think that's a trip.
You are real. You are not a non-playable character. That is uniqueness right there. Okay. Who are your top 5 favorite actors as superheroes? Their top 5 are Wolverine, then Robert Downey Jr., then Chadwick Boseman, then Ryan Reynolds, and Chris Pratt, Star-Lord. All right, what is your top 5 similar to that?
I didn't come up with a full top 5, but I did think, I know it's a little too green to do this, but I added actually Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Oh,
but I really like him as Batman a lot. So
very interesting. I think I'm with you on Hugh Jackman Wolverine. I'm a huge Hugh Jackman fan. Iron Man, Ryan Reynolds. Chadwick Boseman for me would be in Civil War, that movie for sure. And then the Black Panther movie. Yeah. But in Civil War, I think that's the best Chadwick Boseman we ever got. Chris Pratt, Star-Lord. I don't know. It'd be tough. I'd probably go Hugh Jackman too, just out of respect for, I mean, he is the superhero genre in a way because of when he started and how long he did it. And he is Wolverine, and he is we've had Xavier's, we've had Magneto's, we've had different versions of Captain Marvel. You're not putting another Wolverine out there right now. That would be a horrible mistake. If someone else was playing Wolverine other than Hugh Jackman, it better be a joke. Because people will be I like livid. I would donate my entire money to bash Disney every day. I'd buy billboards up. It'd be crazy. Like outside of people's houses, I would just have giant billboards about how angry I was about Hugh Jackman being replaced.
I would love to hear your thoughts on this. We were talking earlier about Aaron Taylor Johnson and Craven being delayed till next August.
They could delay it till the end of time. I don't understand this movie. I don't understand what's going on. And not to bash him. I don't think he's a horrible actor, but this doesn't look good.
No.
Am I supposed to spend money and go to the theater to see this? Or are they just going to let me see it for free? Because if there's, I don't even know if I'd go if it was for free. I mean, I'm going to see it because of YouTube, but
right.
would I see it if I wasn't doing YouTube?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked how violent it looked. I thought that I was
Right.
like, okay, well, rated R, do this character like that. But it didn't completely sell me.
I don't think he gets me in the door. That character doesn't get me in the door in the theater. And a lot of movies probably have this problem, but I don't know. Also, it's a really bad sign when you have a movie that was supposed to come out in like 2 weeks and then it's delayed a year because of the strike. Yeah.
I'll watch the hunk of a god act in anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Bullet Train, actually.
That's on my list. I haven't seen it.
I think the last hour of Bullet Train is just absolutely bonkers. I think that people would either hate or love Bullet Train. Like,
Okay.
I honestly think that people in the theater, if you went in there and watched it, you were either hating it and wanted to leave, or you were getting like pulled into this weird world of stuff. It's weird that it turned out that way.
I think this is kind of what you were talking about Greta's writing. I guess she has been nominated for both of her past movies, the Little Women adaptation and Lady Bird. So this would make sense if she gets a three for three.
Well, I'll tell you this one thing for sure. Not disrespectful to Little Women and the adaptation, but Lady Bird, it's hard to put anything up there against that and think that it's the same, because the writing on that is just different. She writes in a very unique way. It's honestly why I was disappointed in Barbie. I thought if she was going to do her thing and take Barbie in a different direction, but maybe there was just, it wasn't just her writing it. Like you said, she was with her partner writing it, and it was also a Mattel big Warner Brothers project. There was no expectation for Lady Bird to make money. That was never like part of the agenda with it, or even Little Women made a lot of money, but it also had it's based on something. It's not hard to do it. I think that Greta writes Lady Bird in a way that like she is writing it and doesn't care if you like it. She wants you to get it. And that's unique. Cause most writers pander and just pander and pander. And Lady Bird almost insults you as the reader. So that's why I like it so much.
I'm having an epiphany now, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the first time she's collaborated, and it's with her husband, long-term boyfriend.
I think that's why I said, because I really don't know if they're. Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second. Did she take out
we
all
know
of her?
you pulled this up. We know he can bring it. With the back and forth stuff. We have seen him bring it. And I know she can do like self-discovery journey, weird takes that end up being really emotional in a way that you have to like really pay attention. And that's where I think Barbie fell apart. Setup was great. And then what happened, I don't really know. Other than like great setups for lots of things. And we got very little at the end.
I know. I actually asked the panel last night what they thought percentage-wise that Noah Baumbach was involved with, and they all kind of thought he potentially wrote all the Ken stuff, but I'm not sure. I could see that,
I could too. Yeah, and Marriage Story is a great example of like why you pointed this out, and I'm still so confused. Marriage Story knows how to do both sides and follow through with it. They did not follow through with Ken and Barbie. They set up something really extraordinary, and the third act, they let it just be. And that was a mistake. I think that's what keeps him from winning. They are married. Okay, so there you go.
Yeah, I'm wondering if she was taking out her frustrations on her marriage in the script.
He might not have had a say in the third act. Who knows? Let's see.
I mean, yeah, I can see a little bit, but
I think that. So here, I was going to ask you this. So Barbie is such a big thing, but outside of Barbie, if we don't have Barbie in the mix, not a lot of people talk about Greta Gerwig or know her, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what, like, this may be, I love Lady Bird. I've told you this. I think this is it's one of the best scripts ever written. It's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in a lot of ways. It's not for everyone at all, but there's like some commentary there at the end that really spoke to me. And I think when I watched it, it mattered. But I loved that she was so on the outskirts. And even doing an adaptation of Little Women, there was nothing with that made me be like, but there's like a little bit of a mainstream factor that makes me a little like, you know, do your own stuff. Like, and I get Barbie has not been done in a movie. I'm not saying that, but I wanted to see her maybe do more with it that said like, you hired me, but I'm still doing my thing regardless, kind of. You know?
I didn't see her adaptation of Little Women. The only Little Women movie I've ever seen is the one from the 90s with Susan Sarandon and Christian Bale and like Winona Ryder. It's a really good movie, actually, if anyone. My goodness, I'm blanking out on one of my favorite actors. But anyway, he's in it as well. And that's actually a pretty good movie. I think it was like 1994, something like that. But I have wanted to see her version of it, but I have not gotten to it.
Well, they're in trouble when the rights run out and I take Batman and put him in Little Women and make it rated R. That's going to be a great movie. It's going to be horrible though. You start to watch. Yeah, you're going to be like, what is happening? What is?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty. I think we're within 10 years of us being able to do stuff like that with those stories.
Yeah, that is actually really crazy. That's all up for grabs at that point.
And so this comment, she's going to do Narnia next for Netflix. So she is pretty much becoming like a mainstream, which, I mean, why would you not, right? If you had the opportunity. But Narnia is also one that you got to be a little more careful. Adapting Little Women, she didn't go too far from the source material.
Yes.
Adapting Barbie, there isn't a lot. You had a lot to play with. Narnia was written by one of the all-time great writers. You got to be a little careful with that one too.
She's going to be stuck doing that for such a long time too, you know?
Yeah. Well, so that's, we're not getting a Barbie 2 because Netflix pretty much has her on the books for what, 5 years? I mean, I don't see her doing anything else for a while. Also, I don't know if she's the type to go back to a sequel unless it's something like Narnia where she agrees up front because there's a book series. That's a good point. We know what she's doing for the next few years.
It does have a lot of adaptations.
Yeah, and
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
I don't know about you, but would you, like, if someone said, "Hey, here we want you to direct something," would you want to make certain things that are based on things written by people that are iconic? Like, I would never touch Lord of the Rings. Like, I admire Peter Jackson for even doing it, but if you said, "Here's you can do this," I'd be like, "No, thank you." He is a better writer than I ever was, Token. I'm not going to take his stuff and attempt to make it adapted and change things because I won't do a good job. Right. I don't know. That may just be me, but I would not want to presume I know how to make Narnia better than the original book was, I guess.
No, I agree. Actually, the only thing I've ever considered that I would like to do would be like, and I think, you know, it shows my age a bit. And when I was in high school, but doing a rated R version of Alice in Wonderland, I always wanted to do something like that. And I feel like there was a lot of like Alice in Wonderland push for like, I don't know, 20, 30 years, I feel like, of like weird interpretations, but it's been kind of silent for a bit. Cause I think I personally hated the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movies. I thought they were incredibly boring. And just, I think the expectations were so high for that, you know?
Yes,
but that could be something, you know.
That was when I actually began to get a little bit of a disdain towards, like, I had high expectations. That was garbage. Like it was one of those things where they could have done so much more.
I agree.
It's kind of like the stories of like Aladdin and things like that, where you should elevate it because we're talking about things that are really old, based on like smaller stories. It's why I kind of give Jungle Book praise because it was like a little story and they made it into something pretty big. You know, like I like that. But when you take like Tolkien's work and then you make it worse, or you take, something and make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping you were going to say Grease and you wanted a rated R version of Grease. I was like, I'm down for that. Like they're just like people get taken out left and right. It's like getting intense. Like,
some of those songs are like actually like R-rated. I know it's funny because I remember being like 10 and being like, there was like a renaissance of like 1950s culture in like, 1997. And it was like, everyone was into the poodle skirts and all that stuff. And Grease is some of the songs in Grease Lightning. My goodness, like a 10-year-old should not be singing that song.
Oh, yeah. So good.
At all. But,
So good.
Okay. Right. I think we all agree with that. We don't want her to just focus on those.
Absolutely.
Huck, thank you so much for joining us today. He has a really great channel. If you're into, he does a morning live stream. I think multiple times a week. I catch them here and there. And then he also does fantastic trivia when he brings on streamers and they do a live stream, and it's really fun. If you're into movie trivia at all.
Those are the only questions I can get right at trivia games. It's either like rare things or like movie stuff.
Yeah. I'm the same. I like trivia night for sure, but usually if it's movie related, it helps.
Yeah.
Once I did something weird with my Mac mouse, and now everything is gigantic on the screen, and I can't see anything.
Oh yes, it's unstoppable. It's taking over.
Oh my goodness.
I feel this like. I think if you were going to do Alice in Wonderland, it's okay to elevate it, but you can't lose the thing that people loved. You've got to find a way to change it or incorporate it in some way. And there was something about the wonder part. Like even the Matrix romanticizes Alice in Wonderland. The idea of, do you want to see what's real? And I don't think Tim Burton did that. I don't feel like he showed us something new. So I agree with this too. Oh, the original? Yeah, absolutely.
It does hold up. Yeah.
A lot of the original animated films are even better than they used to be. I still think, and someone may have mentioned it on your stream a few weeks ago, I do want them to keep updating the quality of the visuals for these old animated movies. I think they need to spend more time doing that than just kind of remaking everything constantly. I think that would serve them a lot better. I like to imagine that your screen is just only giant icons right now. And I have taken over the stream. Oh, yeah, Maxfield. The original Alice, because the 3D was so... Yeah. I think that the visuals matter for these things. It's one of those things that I've kind of wondered over the years why they've kind of let some of them go.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot, the remakes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Original Aladdin. Oh my gosh. I wish I was like old enough at the time to like be in theaters, Yeah. Aladdin. Oh my gosh. If you put original Aladdin in IMAX, I'm there without question. Does not matter how much it costs. Would not even look at the price. Take my money.
This actually brings me into, I did want to talk to you about the confirmed / potential confirming of the Fantastic Four casting.
Right. Yes.
So, your thoughts. I know 2 are confirmed for sure at this moment. What are you thinking about those things?
I am a ridiculous Vanessa Kirby fan. So I think that she deserves a big lead, and this will be her best payday, I assume. I think she could do a great job. Now, a lot of people were worried about Sue Storm being the focal point. I am okay with Sue Storm, Vanessa Kirby being the focal point if they just do a good story. I think that's the biggest thing that I have complained about with Marvel is don't just show me something to pander for 5 minutes. Like, at least make it quality and not pandering. I love Vanessa Kirby as an actress, though. I think she'll do a good job. The problem I have with the rest of the Fantastic Four cast is, well, I don't have a problem with either of the other potential ones either. And I do not know how to say his name. And someone in the chat probably does, or you do. The guy from The Bear.
Oh, I
He has
looked
like
it up
3 parts
actually,
to
and
his name.
I got so many different answers regarding that. Eben, obviously, like as it's spelled,
Right.
or Evan, or Aben as well
Right.
is another one. So I'm not positive.
He'll do a great job at whatever he does. And then our other one would be like Eddie from Stranger Things or whatever. I forget his real name, and I should know
Yes.
this, but
Yes.
that's what happens when you're so iconic as a character. You become the character. Oh yeah, someone said. Yeah, I like all those. I think that this is the problem though. Is have they confirmed anyone else for like Reed Richards yet?
No, they have not. I know that
I just
Adam
don't
Driver
know.
thing is still on the table, like speculatively, but
I wonder if he's just too much money. I honestly think Marvel's probably like, okay, do we want to use this person in like 6 or 7 movies? Okay, that's 25 million a piece easily right now for Adam Driver, unless he gives you a discount, which I don't think he's given Disney a discount. And then there was the rumors of, oh goodness, he's in House of the Dragon and
yeah, Matt,
Doctor Who at one point, right?
Matt,
Matt
yeah,
Smith, right?
Matt Smith, right?
Uh,
I think that's looking like it's further and further from reality as the days pass. I haven't seen any updates on this, but I know Paul Mescal, who was in a film called After Sun that came out last year. He was actually nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars for that film. He was, talked about as being the Human Torch, but I'm not sure if that is reality still either. So
yeah, and I people are still passing around rumors of Jack Quaid being someone. I don't know. They're not. It's gonna have to be a good story. As much as I love Vanessa Kirby and these other actors they've cast, is they have to nail the story. I mean, because I would argue that like first Fantastic Four run, I was pretty much into all those actors and stuff, and then it was kind of a letdown. So I feel like they've just got to have a good story this time, and they're doing the biggest. If these rumors are true and Antonio Banderas is a giant VFX CGI version of Galactus, I don't know how that works. I mean, I guess it works, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And I think like I kind of like that they're toying around with the doing it from the 1960s, because I feel like I've always been told that that's their thing is the 1960s, and that's when they came out and it was like a really big deal. So if they do like a time period era thing, that could be interesting and new. I didn't see the last Fantastic Four reboot. Did you see that one?
I did, and I have disdain for that one. And Miles Taylor's fine and stuff, but that movie, the vibe, the feel, what they were going for was never going to work. I'd say the others were closer. They were a little more fun. I'm not saying they were great. They're all bad, but I don't know. Yeah, they're not good. None of the Fantastic Four versions have been good. Doctor Doom was a disaster in both versions. And then maybe that's why. Maybe they just don't want to do another Doctor Doom. But the budget on Galactus is going to be... Disney's going to go bankrupt visually. Or they're just not going to have him be in the movie much, which is probably more likely.
Right. Chris Perspective, thanks so much for joining. I think Vanessa Kirby will do a great job, but my worry is making her the main focus of the Fantastic family.
If they're going to do it, I hope they do it the right way. And it's not just like, okay, logically, based on everything we know about Fantastic Four and Reed Richards and how important he is for everything that happens, it should be Reed Richards. So if you're going to focus on her, hopefully the focus is not in her being, and I hate to say this, the leader. If you want to focus on her for the character arc and how interesting the story is, that's great. But if you're trying to tell people that Sue Storm is like more important, I guess, in the grand scheme than Reed Richards, that does a big disservice to Reed Richards' character. But that we already saw what they did. They took John Krasinski and they wanted to delete him, basically, cheese graters him. So I don't know. Yeah, she is awesome. I don't know about you, but
nominated for?
Let's look.
Nah.
I'm trying to think of what the first thing I saw her in was. Um, let's see. Oh, Pieces of a Woman, I guess would be.
Mm.
I've seen a lot of clips from that.
They don't make it easy when you Google this stuff, by the way.
No, of course not. That's part of the problem with all these things too. I saw in your comments too. Yeah, some visual effects. If they unionize Marvel, watch. I'm calling this. This is my bold prediction that will end up being wrong. If they unionize, watch this Galactus plan change. Watch Marvel be like, "Hey, we are gonna do Doctor Doom because we could just make a costume." I wouldn't be surprised if they'd be like, "Oh yeah, cheaper."
I'm shocked that hasn't happened yet. I think that's absolutely going to happen in the very near future. They're like the only aspect of the film industry that doesn't have a union, and they are being worked to the bone right now. Like
I feel worse for them than anyone else, especially at Marvel, because I know from Ant-Man 3 they were overworked and then blamed. Like they were like, it was like, oh, it's your fault too, by the way. And I was like, no, Ant-Man 3 is bad either way. Like the visual effects, as much as no, not your fault. Story's still bad, Marvel. That's you.
Yeah.
Like
No,
the person on the computer 12 hours a day, not their fault. Like
this is a gripe with him because he hated the way they did the wigs for Jessica Alba, I believe, CGI wigs.
Oh yes. I agree. Well, they better not if you're hiring Vanessa Kirby, it better be because of the look, like that like she has a very distinct look, a really interesting look. Not what I would have picked at first, but I like her and everything she does. I think in her Mission Impossible, that's the look. Hopefully they kind of keep something like that.
Yes, she has great hair in that one, so I don't think
she does. She's got the hair. She really does. Yeah. I appreciate this.
Yeah, as I have to record a video, but great to speak to you both. Sub to you, Bone Bridger. That's great.
Thank you. Appreciate
You'll like his content, I promise.
You either like it or you will run in total fear. Oh yeah. So this is Workaholic. Some people have been talking about this, and I don't know if this is true or not, but some people are worried that the focus, they haven't clarified. Basically, the rumor is, like Nerdy Film Girl said, the 1960s thing is pretty solid. We know that's happening. And so basically, this is going to be like a prequel to whatever era we're in. And I think it's going to tie to Deadpool 3. But a lot of people are worried that Sue Storm is going to be the main based on some things that were said. But I think that it's not the main in terms of leadership. I think it's just she's going to be the focus because of her story arc being interesting and like where they take her. I might be wrong. The Witcher is a great example of how you shouldn't do it, where Henry Cavill's on screen for 10% and other characters get 80%, which is not even balanced. And then show's called The Witcher, but I don't know. Yeah.
That's the movie that she was nominated. I think I missed that one. So that's
I know she was in The Crown too. Maybe won a BAFTA or something for that.
Right. This is actually I've been reading up on this as well. Backbase, yes. The actors, I believe, just voted yesterday, unless it's the writers, but I'm pretty sure it's the actors that just did, and like they're going to start talks again. So, but it could go on forever. But at least they're starting this.
I think the actors could get a deal faster. The writers are going to have to, and I think they are giving in on the one thing. And we've talked about this. There is one thing, and I feel for them with the AI thing. I'm on their team with the AI thing, absolutely, and I understand the problem with that. The one thing that they will never get from the studios is the streaming numbers, and I would love for them to get it. The data, have a third party. Those streaming services, I think, would rather and like you remember, we talked about how they said they wanted them to go homeless or bankrupt over it. I think Netflix would rather everyone on earth go bankrupt than anyone know their actual data, because it'd be revealing.
Yeah, that's why, the union, if the special effects people created a union over this, I mean, it could have happened a while ago, and maybe this will push them to the edge. They're like, well, so wait, we're going to be doing all this work now? That we're already killing ourselves. So
Absolutely. I think you're right. I think and this is where I feel for the VFX especially. I think that they have to make a stand because they're getting overworked. I mean, right now, next year, there's 3 Sony Marvel movies and 3 Marvel movies coming out.
Ugh.
There's not that many VFX teams that work on this stuff. Some of those people are working on every single one of those projects, which is crazy. That's so much.
It is a lot. I know we are wrapping up here. And I just wanted to promote anything that you have coming up. That Backface has been doing a lot of editing for the Movie Cynics videos. So
very cool, very cool. Putting in that grind.
Meanwhile,
yes.
Zaslav is like, everything's going great.
Yeah, David Zaslav and his $685 million he's made over the last 8 years. I'm not a fan of him.
Oh, that's very interesting. So this kind of conversation is happening now, I guess, with the VFX people. I don't blame them. So
don't blame them at all. I mean, you got to figure something out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'll help, but it might. I mean, you might as well try something. Whatever's going on right now is not working if you're a VFX studio.
No. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything on your channel upcoming that you'd like to promote? Well,
we'll be live streaming Thursday. We always do it like 11:30 to 2-ish. And one day, who knows how long we'll be on there, but we'll see. But no, I think that all I need to do is I need to get back to work editing because I feel inspired, to do some great things for mankind. I'm totally not going to spend the rest of my night editing a trailer based on what I told you earlier about the Space Jam Moron Mountain thing. Yes. I would never do that. David Zaslav's face could go on that, though. That'd be good. Yeah.
That would be good. Yes, I hope you do.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to everyone in the chat. We had a great time, and we'll see you all next week. I am going to be putting out a video about my early Oscar predictions for nominations. I'm not going to predict who's winning yet because that would be insane. And potentially hear a past lives or talk to me review. I think now that you mentioned that past lives is going to be available to stream soon, that would be a good time to do that. So we'll see what happens. But if you guys are interested in that stuff, let me know in the chat and or the comments, I should say, if you're on the replay. And thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you all next time.